All right, guys, here we go. Make sure you got your notepads ready because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions. I actually have a few questions myself after going through this. So, normally I just do a quick comparison between your website, where it's showing on the search results organically, and then the top competitors in the area. So I've pulled auto detailing in Franklin, I've done Worcester, Boston, and then Rhode Island. And I take all the top competitors from all of these as well as yours, and I put them into this tool that I have, and it shows me all the information that Google finds on your site, and then it rates it based on its strength and its trust on a scale of 1 to 100. Now, normally, when I click into the competitors, anywhere from a small to big disparity in the difference of some of these stats. Other times, you're at 22 and 67. You're outranking some of these places, and yet they're still showing up well above you in search results. So let me kind of go into that in 1 second because that's usually not the case. It's usually you're the lowest and everybody else is higher, and that's why they're ranking higher on the search results. So when we're looking at your site, well, or I should say when Google is looking at your site, it's going to rank it based on two factors. The first is the content. So it's going to come in and it's going to count all the words and text on the page. It's basically looking for a minimum of about 1,500 to 2,000 words because it assumes that the more information you have on the page, the more of an expert you are, and the more likely it is to recommend you. Now, while it's counting the words, it's also looking for keywords, anything that somebody's going to be typing into Google search. Usually going to be a service that you offer and then the area that you offer it in. Now, this is where the number of words on the page really comes into play because you're only allowed to have one of those keywords for every 150 words of text on the page. So I'm seeing a decent amount of content on here, but it's just not enough to really qualify for a lot of keywords. And they're not exactly what we call buyer intent keywords. So I'll explain a little bit more of that afterwards. Um, let me just go into that right now, actually. So these are all the keywords and phrases that Google is finding on your website. And then we also have the volume, which is the estimated number of times that they're being searched per month. So when I say buyer intent keywords, you know, PPF car wrap, 450 people a month are searching that, but that doesn't mean they're searching to get it done. They're just looking for information on it. Maybe they have questions. When somebody's searching car wrap Rhode Island, now that's what we call a buyer intent keyword because they're searching a specific location, which is usually near them, meaning they want to find out who does it near them so they can contact them and get some pricing and availability. So these are the types of keywords that we want to make sure that are being found on your site. And we go through and we find all the highest volume keywords that are buyer intent, and we make sure that those are listed. So we're all the way down here, like for instance, where is you guys aren't doing car painting. There we go. Auto detailing Franklin, Mass. That's obviously a big one for you guys. Right now, you're in the 36th position, which, as you saw, was like either the third or fourth page. So 40 people a month are searching that. We usually say, a really conservative estimate and say only 10% of those will actually convert into a lead. So that'll be 4 new leads every month giving you a call just based off this one keyword. So then we repeat that process for all the other buyer intent keywords. And then what I also do is we kind of snoop the competitors' websites and we find out what are the highest volume keywords that are being found on their site that are also buyer intent. Because the near me doesn't really work. That's because anybody can type near me from anywhere in the country. That's why these numbers are always so high. We want an actual specific location so that way we know that they're looking for a service around them. I don't know why they're coming up for New York, but like I said, we'd go through all these keywords and find the highest buyer intent ones that are on all the competitors' websites, and making sure that those are also on your website. And then that can obviously add up to some revenue at the end of the month and the end of the year, probably more than you're going to get for the pay-per-click stuff with the ad side of it. Then the second way that Google is going to rank the website is based on what's called the authority, which is pretty much just a popularity contest. It's when there's two different ways that you can build the authority to your website. The first is getting what's called citations. Those are any time that your name, address, and phone number appear in any kind of online directory. Those are going to include like Yelp, Yellow Pages, Better Business Bureau. They're usually all free. It just takes some time to find them all, register the business, and then input it information exactly as it's shown in Google search. Then the second way and the biggest way to build authority is through what's called backlinks. Now, that's when another website refers back to yours, and Google uses as an endorsement to build trust because others are vouching for you. So this is where normally if you're lower on the list, you have less referring domains. So in Franklin, the Franklin Car Wash does have more referring websites. And just to kind of define these terms, if say like the local newspaper had a article on their website and said, the top 10 best auto detailing spots in Franklin, and in that article, the reader could click a link and it would bring them to your website. That's considered one backlink from one referring domain. So they have more of these referring domains, which Google then assumes that they have more trust and more authority than you, and that's why they're ranking at the top of the list. So we would need to make up that gap of getting referring domains. They obviously they have to be specific and relative to your industry. We can't just have like Pizza Hut linking back to your website. Google understands that you're doing automotive detail, you're not slinging pizzas, so that wouldn't add any kind of authority or relevancy to you. We'd be looking for posting sites or blogs, those directories, news and media outlets with articles that are relative to the auto detailing, automotive industry, things like that. That is unfortunately where some of the cost comes into play because a lot of these websites, especially the ones that bring power and authority, understand that by linking back to you, they're going to be helping you out and gaining you traction with customers and making you money. So they want a piece of that action. So it ends up they cost money. You have to buy that link pretty much. And unfortunately, that does not last forever. They anywhere from 6 months, 6 weeks to a year at most, those links are going to fall off and then they have to be repurchased again. So it's kind of like a constant king of the hill type battle where you get to the top, and then by the time you get there, some of your other links have fallen off, and then you need to replace those and just keep on going in order to maintain your top status. Now, what was surprising, normally when we go into bigger areas, there's more and more authority. However, you can see that this guy has very little authority, yet he is the one of the top spots here. I didn't even check this guy because his website was horrible. He's one of the top ranking spots and he's got very little authority. But this is one of those scenarios where I bet that if we started looking at his keywords, he's ranking in his local area for one of these keywords that you guys don't have on your website. So what I would probably suggest doing is getting a couple of back pages or even like a blog postings like back page where we can be adding keywords and content to try to capture some of these other searches, in whatever search areas you guys want to expand to. But it seems like this would be pretty low-hanging fruit in order to try to knock off some of these people with a lot less authority than you have already, so you don't have to go buying any more of these domains or links. We can just use the power you already have and just make sure you're found for the right keywords. We might have to get some links to link to those back pages or the blog posts that you put on in order for Google to notice them and create some traction. But it's not like we have to make up, 10, 20, 30, or 100 of them. Even in Boston, I was really surprised that they didn't have much authority in Boston either, compared to a lot of other industries that I've seen. As soon as you get into a city, it becomes wildly competitive. So you're basically equal there. Same thing if we wanted to try to pull some of the Boston crowd, we just need to get some of those keywords and link back to those. And then, believe it or not, little old Rhode Island that I thought they were going to have, for the entire state, even though it's kind of small. They didn't have much in the area of authority there. So same deal. We kind of just need to get some more of the same keywords and build out the site Like I said, it all depends on what areas you want to pull from, how far you think people are willing to travel, things like that. But it's just a matter of getting the right wording on the page that Google will pick up, and then using the power and the authority that you have to try to push that, so that way you can get ranked in the listings, even in the what we call the so down here is the organic side of it. This is where the authority and the trust comes into play. Up here, this is the map pack, filling out your Google business profile. You guys are down here like fifth or sixth. So in order to optimize this, there's a few things we can do. We want to be, obviously you're getting reviews. We want to make sure that your profile is filled out as much as possible for the services that you offer, your description of your business, the area that you offer it in. You guys have got hours of operation. Then we want to be adding photos that are geotagged within your service area. We want to upload those as well as some posts to your profile, as often as you can, but usually I suggest at least twice a month. And then we want to get a bunch of those citations, your name, address, and phone number. We want to be listed in more directories than anybody else on this list. Then there's also some other tricks that we can do. For instance, when you see like a website come up, it has a brief description here. We can throw some keywords in here as well, because as you can see, Franklin Car Wash, when I search auto detailing Franklin, Mass, it's got detailing Franklin, Mass, and detailing twice in it. So Google sees this as super relevant to my search because it's got the exact keywords in the description of the website. So there's things we can do on that as well, not just for the main page, but even those back pages. If you wanted to do like a locations tab or anything like that, and add that, we could get those optimized to try to pick up some more of that traffic from other areas. So I'll be in to talk to you guys in person, but like I said, if you got any kind of questions, write them down. We can talk about some goals. I can do some research to see what it'll take for you to guys to get there. So I'll definitely be in touch and see you guys in the morning.